We are here live, and I just want to, talk a little bit um, about like the fights that just happened not so long ago. We had an amazing 2 weeks of fights. I think that was amazing. I can say for sure. Um, we had UFC. Um, UFC. We just finished having UFC 274, Oliveira and Gaichi. Last week was crazy. Crazy night of fights last week. We had Amanda Soriano. We also had Shakur Stevenson fight last week. This week we had Canelo and UFC fighting. Man, you guys know what's up. Make sure to leave a comment down below. I welcome you guys. Thank you for watching and joining. And yeah, man, if you got any questions down below about this past weekend when it comes to the fights, man, let me know down in the comment section. Uh, Usually it takes some time for me to see the messages and stuff in the text. So yeah, man, if you got anything that you would like to talk about boxing or MMA related, man, just let me know. First, I want to talk about UFC 274 and what interesting card it was for the, I can say the least, interesting card. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, it was all over the place. The main card, got to watch the main card, and I thought it was interesting. I think Mauricio Shanganhua and Oven Sepu need to just probably retire. It doesn't make any sense for them to still be fighting. They didn't look really that good. You know. Um, and then the co-main event was all over the place as well. Rose Namajunas did not look good at all. Neither did Carla Esparza, but I feel like for the co-main event, I feel like that was an interesting fact of just like both ladies didn't want to do anything. They just didn't want to engage that whole fight, which was really sad, man. Man, I hate when they build up the fight, but then like sometimes the fights don't need to build up themselves. I mean, the fights do build up themselves, especially Carla and Rose Namajunas. Both ladies, they fought already years ago on the Ultimate Fighter. So like for it, so they already knew what the game plan. I really thought for me, I thought Rose was gonna come out on top. I thought she was. Excuse me. I thought she was gonna do something to remotely. I thought she had the tools to beat Carla Esparza fair real easily. Carla has great wrestling. So I knew if Carla took her to the ground, it would have been interesting. But I don't know. What an off night for Rose to have and have a fight the way that she did against Carla Esparza. Um, super bananas. Man, Carla Esparza, usually, she's a tough girl. So is Rose. Rose came a long way. I think she's like the only girl to win the strawweight title twice. In dramatic fashion too. To see her come out the way she did against Carla Esparza, and not do absolutely nothing. It's just beyond me. Um, it doesn't make total sense to me. For Rose to even come out the way that she did. It's not like she doesn't have like a top notch game. It's not like she can't match Carla's wrestling with her jiu-jitsu. She has great jiu-jitsu. I just clearly don't see why she didn't do much of anything. You know, Carla Esparza, the one big shot that she had was just the wrestling, and she implemented that. As we all know, Carla won. You know, yeah, man, you guys, it's just, I just wanted to come on here and just vent a little bit about this past weekend and last week's fights. I thought Carla won the fight regardless. She was the one at least a little bit more active, especially towards later. I had Rose winning the fifth round at least. That was the most active she was throughout that whole fight. Between the takedowns, the takedowns, even though she didn't hold Rose Namajunas much down, but she definitely just all over the place, man. Um, I thought Rose was gonna do way better than what she did than um than what she showed against Carla Esparza. I don't know what the hesitation was for, man. That shit was whack. Um, that was a great win for Esparza at least. Now she's actually the second person to win the title back. It took her a couple of years to get to that point, but most boring fight. I think Jessica Andrade is going to be probably the next person for Esparza, and if that's true, man, Jessica Andrade is the beast, and I think Andrade definitely got the power advantage. It just can she handle the wrestling of Esparza? That would be a whole nother story. I'm pretty sure she can, but that's going to be very interesting to see if she can out wrestle her, or at least stuff her takedowns, so Andrade can come with her hands. Or just press hard, which Esparza, I mean, not Esparza, uh, Jessica Andrade usually does. She usually presses forward and just, you know, her hands are great. You know, I think for Andrade, definitely use her hands for the most part, man. Also, you know, Katie Taylor last week for Amanda Soriano. I was there live. Great fight between Amanda and Katie Taylor. I feel like they brung it on top for the women's. I don't know about how you guys feel about the women's division in boxing. I feel like they should already been fighting 3 minutes. I think it's dumb, for them to still fight 2 minute rounds while the guys get to do 3 and 12 rounds. Like I think it's dumb. There's nothing that the ladies can't do right now that the guys can't either. So I feel like for women's division, they need to definitely freaking just let them be, man. Let them rock. Um, just let them fight. 3 minute rounds. I feel like in that fifth round, if you guys watched the Serrano fight, I feel like Serrano definitely poured it on Katie Taylor, man. She definitely changed the narrative in the fifth round. She looked good. I feel like she could have got the stoppage. If it was 12, I mean, if it was 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes, because she hurt Katie bad. Katie had no choice but to, you know, get into a firefight with her because she was already rocked. And Katie kind of strayed before that even happened. I feel like she kind of strayed from the game plan that she possibly had against Amanda Soriano, which was to stay on the outside, stick and move. I mean, that's a tiring game plan unless you can do it. Um, all she had to do was just stay on the outside and keep Amanda Soriano on the outside, and don't let her start bullying you on the inside, because when she starts bullying you on the inside, Serrano, it's gonna be a Serrano fight, and she's gonna be there. She's gonna be in your face all day long. You know, Serrano. I like her grit. She's super strong. You know, Serrano's super strong. I don't see why. I don't see why not. She's super strong. I thought she kind of pulled it off, but I can also see why Katie Taylor kind of pulled off the fight as well. Katie Taylor. It wasn't like she didn't fight after she got rocked really bad in the fifth. She kept fighting. Even though Serrano took some of those middle rounds from Katie Taylor, especially the fifth, because that's when everything went downhill for Katie Taylor. But she rallied up and continued on fighting. She did a fantastic job against, Amanda Soriano. And I think Katie, at the end of the day, kind of like just edged it out. That's pretty much it. I think she just edged it out, against Soriano. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't mind watching them throw it back. Throw it back out there. Because Serrano is super beast. That would be a great fight to watch again. It was super entertaining, way better than the UFC card that we just had with Rose and Esparza. That fight was basura, trash. You know, yeah, man. What other things we had on? We had an amazing fight between Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. And Oscar Valdez and Shakur Stevenson, Shakur itself is just a fantastic fighter. I love his style of fighting. I feel like the fans and some people just want to, everybody want to see banging it out. Everybody loves to watch these fighters go and try to kill each other every time they go into the ring. But sometimes you ain't gonna get that. It's not gonna happen most of the time. Everybody loves to see, those guys banging it out because I do too, up to a certain degree. But I understand at the end of the day, a game plan is a game plan, and why, risk me losing. Sometimes pleasing the fans isn't always the best thing in the world for people to do while they fight. I think people just gotta let it. People who understand the game plan. Like this past weekend with Rose and Esparza. I understood after a while. Like, all right, this is the game plan that both ladies had that night. I'm pretty sure Esparza was expecting Rose to come forward with her hands. And for for Namajunas, she was expecting a lot more aggression from Carla Esparza to look for the takedown, but neither of them ladies did anything. So when it comes to sometimes pleasing the fans, it's not even worth it, man. Because myself, I mean, I'm most likely a crowd pleaser, you know. But sometimes it's not necessary. Like, I feel like, and Shakur was winning the fight. Shakur looked great against Oscar Valdez. He made Oscar Valdez look like a normal dude coming up through the rankings. That's what he made him look like. He outworked Valdez, and he stood in there and fought with Valdez too, man. He just, it looked more of a sparring match than it did two big top fighters fighting each other. I mean, Valdez isn't the top tier, but he up there, man. He didn't show out. He didn't show up or show out against Shakur Stevenson. And that's what I want to see. For me, I want to see those top guys like Shakur, Haney, all those guys wanting to fight each other, Davis. I want to see all those guys fight each other, even though some of them got fights coming up. As we all know, Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. Make sure to check out in the future video. I'm going to be talking about my breakdown of that fight. But that's an amazing fight, It's, as we all know, Lomachenko doing, the thing for Ukraine. But, that Lomachenko versus Kambosos would have been fire. I hope it happens down the line, man. I love that fight. That fight sounds really, really awesome to me. Watching George Kambosos taking on Vasily Lomachenko, because that would be an amazing fight. It'll be great to see because of the footwork of Lomachenko. I feel like the footwork of Lomachenko plays a big factor in that fight against him and Kambosos. Kambosos is gonna have to really catch him to even do something to Loma, or catch Loma as he's moving in a certain angle. But for that to happen, man, you just got to be there with him at the same time, and to be able to counter Lomachenko and his movements, because his movements are freaking ridiculous, and it's awesome. I love watching Lomachenko fight. Great fighter. I hope that fight happens down the line. But Kambosos versus Haney, that's another sweet fight there too. Because I'm pretty sure Kambosos could have took somebody, some random dude, not random dude, but like somebody random within the top of a division and fought that person. But for Kambosos to agree to fight Devin Haney, that's even better. Why not? I'm up to it. I'm sure all of you guys are too. I'm definitely up to that. That's an amazing fight. Like, who don't want to see George Kambosos taking on Haney? I love the game plan that Kambosos had against Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo, I thought was a really good fighter. He still is. You know, I sometimes I feel like his dad just puts extra pressure on Teofimo. Um, you know, his dad talks sometimes more than Teofimo Jr. does at times. You know, like for me, every time I watch Lopez fight, you know, and watch the build up to the fight, I feel like his dad talks way more than he does at times. You know, of course he's gonna talk smack because you know he's trying to build up the fight as well. Like look at the build up he had against Cambosis. You know, and I said it in my video with my breakdown and even my final prediction of their fight. I said that when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to whose game plan is going to be there. Cambosis is going to have to play out a really good game plan to beat Teofimo Lopez in MSG too, like in the Hulu theater. Like I said it before, you know, he's going to have to come out and show out, you know, in a hostile crowd because it definitely was. Everybody was pro Teofimo, um, which Teofimo came, he was undefeated. You know, he was riding, big knockout power. He looks strong. I mean, he's always strong when he goes in there, man. But that night wasn't his night, and it was Cambosis' night, and that was it. Cambosis got the knockdown in the first round. Man, I'd be mad as hell, man. But that knockdown that came in the first is because of Teofimo. He came out that first round definitely trying to end Cambosis Jr. You know, I don't get why he came out like that in the first place. Let all that smack talk get to his head, and it definitely did get into his head. That's why he came out like that. I feel like it's easier said to learn how to control that, but when you're in that predicament, I'm 100% sure it's super hard, man. I've been around pros before when I used to box when I was younger, and watching them go through preparations, training, like all that stuff is super hard, to do, and to be around that is just awesome because you get a small little insight at what those guys go through as professional fighters and being on the big stage. All that stuff is super hard to come by. Um, it is what it is. But back to the Haney and Cambosis, I feel like that's a little more interesting fight because Haney's not gonna come out with the same way that Teofimo did, especially once it gets closer to the day, and the way the way Haney fights and the way Cambosis fight is gonna be really good. I think it's happening in Australia, in the Marvel Stadium. It's just crazy to see that both guys are fighting each other who don't want to see them fight. I definitely do. It's great to see that they're getting it on, man. Great thing for both guys and for the sport of boxing. I feel like the sport of boxing definitely coming back to its old roots, for sure, man. What else we have coming up? We got UFC 275, I believe. Nope, I'm lying. No. What fight was there? Canelo losing. I didn't get to see the fight, but wow, with Canelo losing, that kind of sucks. Throws a monkey wrench. I saw a little bit of the highlights. It looks like he just got outworked and outboxed that day. Which is crazy. Canelo, Lester, he felt, he's haven't lost, I think, since the May. No, I'm lying. I feel like, I don't know. People had super high hope for Canelo, and I think Canelo's a great fighter. I love his walk forward style of fighting, and while he's on the inside, work that body too, which is freaking awesome. Great style of fights. I love that fight. I get into that mode whenever I decide to actually just step forward and when I'm sparring or moving around with somebody. Wake up the dog inside somebody. But great fight. It sucks that he lost this weekend. Um, yeah, man. I'm sorry for you guys if I know it's a little later. It's 10 o'clock over here in New York City. I don't know where you guys are around the world, but if you are watching, I thank you and I appreciate it. It means a lot. Um, yeah, man. So this weekend it's awesome. Let's talk about the main event of UFC 274. Chandler, excuse me. Oliveira versus Gaichi. Now there was that big debacle in the main event. Uh, Oliveira missing weight by a half of a pound. Like that shit's stupid, man. I feel like they just should have just let him rock. To be honest, you know, missing weight by not even he's not even over. He's not even 156. He came in at 155 and a half pound. Like, bro, let that shit rock, bro. That shit's stupid. Now that I think about it and having some time to think about it, I feel like they should have just let that shit rock. Why the hell didn't they let that rock? You know, I think that was super dumb to you stripped him of his title. He most likely lost 30% of his purse to Justin Gaichi anyways. You know, for a half a freaking pound. I get championship fight, gotta be at 155 on the dot, but a half a pound, man, that shit is stupid as hell, man. I just, I having time to think about it. I think that shit is dumb. Super dumb. Um, that fight was interesting too, man. Justin Gaethje, every time he go for a title, man, that dude does not show up. And he didn't show up to the Oliveira fight either. He's most likely not meant to be undisputed at the time until he learns how to, I don't know, wake up doing title fights, man. That dude has not woken up uh, in a title fight yet, man. Habib, he kind of choked with Habib, but I get it overseas. I think that was in Abu Dhabi. That probably threw off everything. This time it happened in Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, I don't know where he lived at. I think he lived in Colorado, one of those other guys. But he just doesn't. He didn't show up at all, and it wasn't a smooth night for Trevor Whitman in the office, man. Both his fighters lost that night. The Rose fight. People say maybe back and forth or whatever, but I think for the person who was a little more aggressive, who showed a little bit more, was Esparza, and she got the victory. I don't know about Rose and what her mind was going through when she was fighting Carla Esparza, but that shit was boo boo. But yeah, man. In the main event, Oliveira, tough as hell. Like I always say, when he fights guys that have the big powers, I always say in my breakdowns that dude is always gonna get rocked because he always does, man. And then he gets rocked, but then he always somehow manages to turn the tables around and get a submission in. He won by rear naked freaking choke. Like, bro, that's insane, man. He got dropped like 3 times against Gaichi. For him to turn around and get up, well, Gaichi let him up, to eventually use his hands to work to get the takedown, to take the back, and then choke him out like that. Like, bro, that you are an animal in your own right. I think that shit is crazy. He an animal in his own right. Kudos to Oliveira. Most likely Oliveira is he's already in the title picture now. Dana White already said that he was gonna be the person he said whoever wins in the main event. Well, I mean, if Gaethje would have won, he would have been champion, so he would have just defended against somebody like Michael Chandler. And I'm gonna get at Michael Chandler in a few minutes, but Jesus. But but if Oliveira would have won, he would have been he is gonna be the person that on that side of like, all right, cool, he's gonna fight whoever Dana White decides to pick. Either Michael Chandler. I would say Michael Chandler. Dustin needs to get in the winning circle. I think if I'm not mistaken, he lost his last fight anyways. And I think it was against Oliveira, anyways, if I'm not mistaken. So like, right now I don't see anybody right now, but Islam Makhachev, I guess. I mean, I would love to see that matchup between him and Charles Oliveira, Makhachev, because one's a really, really good wrestler, and the other is a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner in Oliveira. And I feel like, I don't know, man. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, and I feel like the jiu-jitsu, especially somebody like Oliveira, he has slick ass jiu-jitsu. I think he can come out on top because I don't see why not, man. That dude is just super slick, um, super tough, and very hard to beat, man. He can take a freaking shot, man. There's eventually gonna be a guy. It's gonna be somebody that we're not expecting, and is gonna knock out Charles Oliveira eventually. Because geez, that dude just takes really big freaking bombs and just somehow gets it his favor in jiu-jitsu and just starts looking for submissions and grounded pounds and whatnot. It's crazy. Congratulations to that dude for his fight. Now, Michael Chandler versus Tony freaking Ferguson. That fight went, that first round, it kind of went to how I thought it was gonna be. I really thought that Tony Ferguson was gonna do pretty good. I felt like Chandler had the power advantage and the wrestling advantage, but I feel like Ferguson has really good scrambling ability. He has really good scrambles, and I really thought that he was gonna come up on top. And if it did come to the ground or whatever, he'll probably get back on his feet. And Ferguson he passed my expectations of keeping Chandler away. But Tony is so freaking awkward as hell, man. Super awkward to fight. I would hate fighting Tony Ferguson. Super freaking awkward. You would think he's going one way and then comes another. Ferguson's a beast, man. In his own right. I mean, he hasn't had the luck of the draw lately, but I don't think he should retire yet. I think he's a tough son of a gun. I think he's gonna bounce back from this. I think just another night. I mean, he was doing good in the first round, man. That's one thing, man. Everybody's gonna talk about the end results of a fight, but not so much the in between of what happened before what happened. At times, and it just goes to show that you're not gonna get people that's gonna understand everything in the world. I don't understand everything in the world, but I think for Ferguson, I feel like he deserved that chance to at least bounce back. In the next fight, hopefully, that he'll have in the UFC. Probably, I mean, for right now, I feel like he shouldn't fight no more. For now, he shouldn't fight. He should take some time off. And just recuperate after that vicious knockout against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, dude, freaking savage. It's so weird watching Michael Chandler in the UFC. I watched Michael in Bellator, so to see him in the UFC doing as good as he is, and even when he loses, he's still doing really good because he pleasing the crowd right now, and you please the crowd, you good in the UFC no matter what. Yeah, man. Chandler's just a freaking savage and animal. I love watching him fight, man. Whether he wins or loses, that dude is awesome. And like I said, I've been watching him since Bellator. And to see him, he's one of the other guys that on his second fight he had a title shot. Which was to Oliveira, which he lost to in the second round by knockout. Which is or TKO, which is freaking crazy. Both guys. I would love to see that rematch too. That would be great. They're nobody looking for somebody to fight Oliveira next. Why not Michael Chandler rematch that? And I hope Michael Chandler, plays to his strength, but also be mindful of the slick jiu-jitsu that Oliveira has if he does go to the ground with him. Oliveira's boxing's improved tremendously, man. It just sucks again that he lost the belt on the scale. A lot of people probably still think that he's still champion, and I don't blame that. It's not that he got beat to become champion. You know, unfortunately, it is what it is when it comes to the scale. And yeah, man. Yeah, man. If you guys got any questions down below, man, put them down below, man. Before I go, I'm gonna go and make my Devin Haney video with Cambosis Jr. And yeah, man. I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. It means the world to me. And yeah, man. If anything, guys, I catch you guys in the next video, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching the live. I really do appreciate it. Share the live. If you would like to leave a comment down in the comment section, man, even when the video ends, you can do that, and I will write you guys down in the comment section. You guys, anybody that wrote down in the comment section knows I always write down. If you got any questions for me, man, just throw them down in the comment section, guys. I would appreciate it. Next time I'll try to go a little earlier, so it's not too late, because I'm pretty sure everybody getting ready to go to work tomorrow and going to sleep. But you know, I thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later, guys.